This is the second installment to my 4-part detailed storage series where I show you what's in every container, every drawer. This was requested a while ago and I already filmed and uploaded part 1, which is the pink room. Today we're going to be doing the middle room. It's not really a room, it's kind of like the center of the basement. It's this big open area. And this is where I keep most of my playsets and a large majority of my dolls, as well as a few other bits and bobs. So as I said in part 1, I do have a whole tour of all my doll storage and all my doll displays, basically my entire collection from sometime at the start of 2025, so just about a year ago. If you're interested in seeing that, and I also have an older version from 2023 if you want to see how it changed. I do have a very large collection, and how I store things might not be like how you like to store things, or might not work for your situation. This is just to show you how I manage my large collection. I do have an absurd amount of dolls and things for them, and I also really enjoy organizing, so I do keep my doll stuff in the basement, which is partially finished, but it is a basement. It does look like a basement in some parts, and it was hoarded out at some point when my dad was alive, so it's not perfect, and not everything, like the storage containers and shelves, not everything matches, not everything is aesthetic. I use what I have, what I can find on sale, and then there's a few occasions where I'll invest more money in something really specific I want, but if it's not broke, don't fix it. That's kind of my motto. Reuse, repurpose, recycle. So it might not be the most aesthetically pleasing thing to watch, but this is how I really store my doll collection. I'm not going to open up all of the containers with my playsets. I'll explain more about why when we get there, but anything that you see in this video or the other installments, everything is on my Flickr. Like all the dolls, all the outfits, all the playsets. I have a whole like encyclopedia of my entire collection, including like duplicated dolls. So if you just want to see like the dolls individually, or the clothes individually, or the playsets individually, I really recommend you check out my Flickr. I have been working on it for like 11 years now, so there's a lot of, it's a labor of love, and obviously it would not be physically possible for me to show you in video every item in my collection. This is just to give you like an idea of how I store it and like what's in some of the containers and drawers. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, so this is the middle area of the basement. And this is just like one gigantic, I don't know if you want to call it like a hallway between like the laundry room and all the other rooms. We used to play in this space with our dolls. We literally, our parents said as long as we kept a path for them from their room to the stairs and to the back door, we could set up wherever. So this is where we played dolls for many years. So we have this big shelving unit that's been here since we were kids, and then we have this dresser that was in this basement since we were kids. My childhood guinea pigs used to live on top of it. Then this is unfinished because when my grandmother moved in, it was supposed to be a bathroom, but my dad never got around to finishing it, so now this is where Quasimodo's litter boxes are. And then we have this desk, which is my childhood one, and it's where we keep some extra storage. Alright, so we'll start here. It's not that exciting. These are all different containers, some that were bought brand new, most were just used, things we got flea market dolls in, or just other secondhand stuff, maybe bins that belong to my grandmother. They've been repurposed a lot of times. And we obviously, like, if we need to make a new container for something, we'll always check this stash first, and also if we need transport bins for bringing stuff up and down the stairs for filming or photos or whatever project we're doing, these are handy. Or sometimes if I'm like taking my dolls off display to do a really deep clean, I'll have a container to put them in. So. And then under here is where the lids go, and next to this shelf is where the bigger lids go. And then all of these drawers is not that interesting. Some of them are empty, but some of them just have extra storage containers. So these 3 white shelves were all from Home Depot. I believe I got 2 of them together, and then the third later on. They're kind of flimsy, but they are great for storing kind of lightweight stuff. You can see there's like just lots of garbage bags. That's how I keep dust off of my vehicles and like any large play sets. And there's also some playset overflow here. So I'm not gonna pull like all of these containers down because you'll see in the inside that like some of them hold smaller vehicles and they're bagged, so you can't really see much. And the playset tubs, again, the stuff is like bagged individually. So we have different like open bins where I keep cars that I don't need the lid on because they're bagged, and that way there's room for them. And they're kind of like staggered weirdly just because the dimensions of these shelves are really inconvenient. So we have this guy up here that has miscellaneous vehicles and carriages. This is my strawberry shortcake playset bin. This is all for like loose small doll furniture like Kelly cribs and like the Power Wheels Jeep, Chelsea's lemonade stand, like those things that they're one piece, so they don't really need to be bagged with other pieces, and it's just easier to pull them out of there. Height chairs, stuff like that. These two things in here are Glitter Girls playsets, if I'm not mistaken, or My Life as Playset Overflow. And then those two bagged things are my childhood bat caves. And then that is like a big outdoor diorama thing that Colleen brought home from work that had military men on it. And we use it for doll photography. Another thing of vehicles, that is my Barbie Star Traveler. These are small horses and ponies. I have them in a container. My other horses are in Babyland. More vehicles, more vehicles. These are boutiques, wardrobes, and pet salons. And then I'm not going to be able to show you every item over here because it's kind of like layered in deep, but these are 18-inch doll furniture pieces for the most part. So this is our Queen's Treasures like old-fashioned stove. I actually got this for free on Amazon Vine. It was the best thing we ever got. And then like our hot dog cart. I think this is Felicity's table. Something else back there. I do have the original box for the grill I got Colleen for Christmas, so that's in there. And then these are different like houses, small thin houses. A lot of them are too tall to fit on here, so there's smaller ones like Happy Family Grandma Kitchen. This is the My House from 2006. My two Feed and Fun stables. My LOL Clubhouse. The 2002 cruise ship, our food truck, my camping vehicle, my like clone school bus playset that my grandmother got me at Big Lots, the Hart family car, like a clone Grand Cherokee. This was like our favorite car as kids. The minivan, the dream camper, and yeah, some of these trash bags you can see are a little dusty. That's why I have them. I have two Barbie friendships from the 70s, the 99 airplane. That's a Tonka Jeep, the Country Camper, the Care Clinic, the LOL Glamper, the Fresh and Fun Food Truck. That is my Francie house. That's kind of like a vinyl case style thing. And then that says Magic Snow Cabin. There, two of them actually crammed in there. I got a second one in a lot on Mercari a long time ago, and my first one I got on sale at Toys R Us. Then what one is this? Oh, this is like my two strawberry shortcake houses, my Little Bratz house, and then this big bag here. This is my Little Bratz mall. It's in its original box and with all of the other furniture I have for them, but I bagged it. My Jam and Glam tour bus, my hot tub party bus, my Flashback Fever retro ride, my Sisters Go Camping camper. I have two magical motorhomes, and I will label the nicer one and then the less nice one. So this one's labeled Faded. That's the one we had growing up. Then this magical motorhome, and those are our childhood Golden Dream motorhomes over there. Yeah, so we have like a nice one and then a not nice one. And most of these cars were secondhand for free or really cheap at the flea market. And some of them were childhood but were used. So this dresser here, these drawers tend to warp. They're not the best quality, so I don't keep anything really important in here. So the bins on top are my 80s Barbies and my 2000s to 2020s Barbies. And I remember when I had like my other tour where I showed those shelving units, some people were like, oh, you should put all your Barbies together. Unfortunately, there's just, with the size of these containers, there's no way to keep all the Barbie containers near each other, because obviously that would be ideal, but that's just not really feasible. So we keep the decades together. And you can see I have them like subdivided by year. So that's what they look like. There's little potpourri sachets to keep them smelling nice. So these are like my 80s. So the 80 to 84, 88 to 89. Then 2001, they have their whole own bin. 2004 to 2007. 2010 to 2012. 85 to 87. 2000s. Some of them are a little bit jumbled because we were in here getting dolls out. 2002 to 2003. 2008 to 2009. And 2013 to present day. So if you're curious about what's in these drawers, this one's empty. This one has all but one of these are my handmade stands that I used to use for my Monster High dolls back when they were on display. These do come in handy sometimes for like photos and whatnot. They are plain white because I would change who used them. Most of my stands upstairs now, for like Disney for instance, they're specialized for each doll, but these were meant to be like interchangeable. Then in this drawer, this is where I keep my like cloth couches. And then these are all miscellaneous parts to play sets and things that I save that I don't know what they go to yet, because you never know, it could be important. And I keep these away from the other living room furniture because they're cloth and really cushy. They kind of don't fit well with like really plastic solid things. Then in this tall skinny drawer, my Generation Girl My Room sets. I got these 3 dolls for I think $12 each at a thrift store back in 2013, and they were all still sealed. And then I have like my Solo and the Spotlight dolls box because it's cute. It's a shoebox style. It could come in handy. And then these are all like my plastic doll stands. They're bagged like Barbie, the Barbie bases, more Barbie. I use my own stands, and I don't currently display any Barbies, but and I have actually sold plastic doll stands like 11 years ago, but and then this drawer here is just more, these are like my OMG stands, Monster High stands. This drawer is like broken, I haven't fixed it yet, so there's nothing in there. Then these are all of our wheelchairs. They need a special place because, as you can see, these are our childhood chairs. Those arms are really prone to breaking, so these are all Becky's chairs, my Wicked Nessa Rose doll's chair, this Barbie wheelchair we got at Savers, some extra wheel rims I think to one of them. And then in here, these are like, kind of I guess you could say, little cardboard insert sets from boxes. These are from Harry Potter dolls. And then these are like the LOL furniture set backdrops. In this big shelving unit, this is where most of the dolls and play sets are stored, and like the smaller play sets, not like the big houses and vehicles, but up here in this corner, these 6 containers are all my Monster High. The best way to divide it was like by characters, so we kind of figured out the numbers of each doll and how to evenly distribute them. And then you can see there's like miscellaneous ones that are smaller categories that we just did alphabetically. Then some more smaller collections like Project MC Squared, my Live dolls, Ever After High, my recently reorganized Kelly and Friends container, my Disney dudes. They're bigger and like broader, that's why they're not with the girls. We have bedroom furniture, grocery play sets, restaurants, outdoor recreation, bathrooms and laundry rooms, large folding houses, some play sets that are in their boxes over here, miscellaneous play sets. These go to my Barbie house that is upstairs. I don't have those on because I use the top of it to display Bratz. Pools, patios, and gardens, more play sets, Bratz and Moxie Girls, salons and spas. Then we have like Barbie friends. So you can see some of them have enough of each character to be subdivided. My 2 Ken containers, some My Life As stuff, vehicles, large scale dolls, Kelly and baby play sets, large scale doll furniture, so that would be like 18-inch My Life As, Our Generation, the cheaper plastic stuff that you can easily put in there. Living room and miscellaneous household. These 2 bagged items are my 2 Fold and Fun houses. One of them we got as kids. I had like one way back when I was younger. I got a yard sale, but my mom talked me into getting rid of it. Then when I was maybe like 11 or 12, we found another one. And then the nicest one I got at a thrift store back at the end of 2018, I think for $10. And then we have kitchen and dining. We have Kidcore Katie and miscellaneous kids and tots, Teresa, Rainbow and Shadow High, Descendants, Celebrities and Dolls from Entertainment, Random Dolls, My Scene, Bratz Boys, and Bratz. So I used to keep all my Bratz dolls on display, but unfortunately I just do not have the space for them anymore, and they've been putting out new Bratz the past few years, and I just couldn't possibly fit them all and organize them in a nice way. So there's about 100 of them that I packed up and put away here, but they still come out. All of them do, all of them come out, so no worries there. So to be extra thorough, I will pull every container down of dolls and show you what they look like. This is them in their wild state. I did not go through every container and make sure they looked perfect, so I tried to keep them nice and put them away nice. They'd naturally get a little jostled, but this is how they look. So this is the Cleo and Claudine container. These little ones are really great for Monster High because they're lighter weight dolls and they are kind of brittle. So I used to keep them in like a bigger container altogether, but I was just worried about, you know, their little delicate arms and stuff getting broken. And they also, a lot of them are oozing glue and it makes their hair really cantankerous. Like you can see, her bangs kind of go off to the side. We have Laguna and Draculaura, and you can see all of my potpourri. And I try to arrange my dolls so they're like in neat rows, so their heads always go to the outside of the container. That's why it makes a nice level surface. Sometimes there's a strange one like this Laguna or like a gimmicky Barbie or something, but this works. And I like plastic containers for storing my stuff because if there's ever like a flood down here, they should be reasonably protected. It's harder for like rodents or insects to get in there. Some people think there's something wrong with storing stuff in plastic, but I've said this 1,000 times before, but like there's a hot water heater behind this wall and it wasn't fitted properly and the pressure built up and it was squirting water out through this little opening next to the duct, and it rained water all over my Barbies, all behind this dresser. My dolls were 100% dry, and it was high pressure water just spouting out everywhere. And they were fine. Nothing happened to them. I just wiped the containers off and moved them out of the way until this whole area could be dried. So yes, and my hot water heater flooded another time, so this is a very good way of protecting them. So then we have Abby and Frankie. We have the boys and Gulia. This is the miscellaneous A to N, so the smaller categories there might be multiple dolls of the same character, but it's where they're stored. I don't keep my like little tiny tot Monster High dolls or babies in here. They are stored elsewhere, but and then these are the O to Z miscellaneous Monster High dolls. I love all their bright colors. They make me very happy. And these are the last of the tinies. We have my Project MC Square dolls. These are my Liv. And you will see that every single doll in my collection is wearing clothes. Some people don't like to store them with clothes because they're afraid of like the dyes bleeding out. When I was a kid, I kept all my dolls naked, so that way I would have access to all of their clothes when I was playing. But the way my mind works, I'm very all or nothing. So as an adult, I of course, you know, wanted to enjoy them dressed. And also I don't know, imagine if all my dolls were naked. Like, this isn't even all of them. That would be very ridiculous to store all the clothes separately. I don't know, it's just, it makes it easier when you're taking photos, and I don't really have a problem with the dyes bleeding. And if their shoes stay on, then they can keep them on. If they have any like hats or hair accessories that stay on, they can stay on them in the container. But anything that is like prone to falling off, or like if there's painted details on the shoes that are really prone to rubbing off on dolls, like a lot of my Monster High dolls aren't wearing shoes for that reason, because I don't want the paint rubbing off onto the dolls below. But then we have my Ever After High. This is my Kelly container. So these are actually drawer dividers that I taped in here, and you can see the little labels to help me know who goes where. I have a whole Dolly Diaries episode on me reorganizing these dolls. They're very hard and weird to store, so this is the method I came up with. They do look a little bit messy because my sister was in here pulling Kelly dolls out, and as I knew she would, she did not try to put them back in nicely. As soon as I opened the lid, I was triggered because these guys are so easy to jostle, and then if you like throw them back kind of messily, it's awful. And then these are my Disney guys. Obviously not all of them. A large majority of my Disney dolls are on display, but I have some like duplicates or guys that don't have their right outfits, like this Philip. And they live in here. A lot of these are like childhood dolls, like this is Leroy. They're very special. There's not room for them on display, or they're not really nice enough for display, but I do rotate my Disney dolls out, so some of them come and go and switch. So those were all the containers of dolls on this top shelf. I always keep the lightweight things on the top. We use this chair. I also have a step ladder thing for getting these things off the top shelf because we're both short. But yeah, that way there's not a ton of weight on the top and nobody gets hurt pulling things down. So all of these bins here are really lightweight. I'm not going to pull all of the Playset bins down because I'll give you an example of like what it looks like. So this is my Big Daddy. I have 2 of these. I bought that one special. This is what they look like. So we have like big pieces of furniture that won't fit in bags out. They'll usually stack at the bottom. And then I have like the Playsets bagged together, and sometimes there's even a smaller bag within the bag for really tiny connector pieces. And yeah, you can see that it is all organized. This is like my Jody playset cardboard stuff. These are actually in their own bag away from the rest of the playset because they're so big. But that's what it looks like. And I don't organize my playsets by decade or usually by doll type unless I have a ton of furniture for them. So this is like, you know, anything that fits in the category here of living room and miscellaneous household. For instance, obviously I have some collections like Strawberry Shortcake where they all neatly fit together, and that's kind of like a weirder furniture, that's a weirder size. And like my Kelly dolls have smaller furniture. And my Bratz and Moxie playsets are kind of large, so that's what it looks like. And then my large scale furniture, all of this stuff was given to us by one of Colleen's former co-workers. It belonged to her daughters. It's all My Life As furniture and our generation. And also we have like our Welly Wishers salon chair we got at a thrift store, and like Rebecca's chair. These all fit nicely in here. That's why they're in the really gigantic container, and so it's not bagged. And then, as I mentioned, there are a few playsets I do keep in their original boxes because they're weirdly shaped. So this is like my dream pool. It's huge. I do have a bin for pools, but most of them are not like solid plastic. They're the inflatable kinds. So then like that's my dream kitchen and my camp out tent. And then this is my soda shop. I actually have 2 soda shops. One I got boxed for $10 as a kid, and then another one that was used I got not long after. This actually doesn't hold those, they won't fit in here, but it has like a few sentimental boxes, like my Superstar Barbie box and Colleen's Pet Pal Skipper box. So I'm not going to open any of the other play sets because you get the idea. But like I said, if they have a box and it will work for protecting it and it makes sense to put them in their box, then I'll do that. But most of the time stuff gets taken out, the cardboard gets recycled, and they get stored with these things. And they are a little bit dusty on the top. This is how it usually looks. I have to wipe them all down. Alright, and these are my miscellaneous Barbie containers. These are done alphabetically, so this is A to K, and I do it by my inventory. I have some of them grouped together by like rockers or Generation Girl. That's why like Nichelle is in this container. So it's done by my inventory. That way when we're checking inventory, we don't like need to be in multiple containers to properly check it. And then this is L to Z and miscellaneous. So some characters are like a single appearance and not part of like a line where they made multiple friends. So that's what the miscellaneous is. That's what that means, like Animal Love and Nikki, for instance. And then we have Midge, Christy, and Kira. I got some really cool Christy dolls recently. You can see them at the top. And then we have Ken. So this Ken container is not bad. It's kind of dark in there. But this is 60s, 70s, and 80s Ken, and then his friends. It's pretty dark here. Let me see if I can adjust it. And they have extra potpourri because these guys be stinky. And then this one that's reaching to the top are my 90s to present day Ken dolls. They're probably gonna need another container sooner than later, but it's not like you get a lot of Ken dolls used, so compared to the girls, so we might be good for a while longer. So these are my Bratz girls I took off of display. They are like about to the top of the container, but that's because when I am adding new Bratz to my collection, they're going on display, so they should be fine for the time being. And you'll note that they have little organza bags over all their shoes if the shoes have painted detail. Like Bratz shoes are their feet, so I'd feel guilty putting them away without feet. That's one reason why I wanted to keep their shoes on. And the second reason is that their shoes take up a lot of space, and I already have like a ton of Bratz shoes that don't have dolls that they belong to, so there just wouldn't be space to have like 100 extra pairs of Bratz shoes. So I had a bunch of these organza bags that I ordered some years, like almost 5 years ago now, I think, because I tried putting silica, like making my own silica pouches with them, putting them in all my doll containers and clothes, and it's just way too humid where I live, even in like the winter when the house is really like warm and dry. There's just still too much moisture in the air, and so the silica changed color, meaning it absorbed moisture within like a day. So, and that was upstairs, not down in the basement where it's more humid. So that wasn't practical, so I just repurposed these organza bags for potpourri or for covering their feet. And then these are my boys. They're not like, they can't lay the other way in the container right now. But again, these are just my extras. I'm not going to be adding to this more than likely anytime soon. I love a lot of these guys, though. They're very special. And then, I mean, I love all of them, but some of these are especially special. Hi, cutie! Then this is my miscellaneous container, like truly miscellaneous dolls. So we have clone dolls, like this is Jovi. She's one of those Amazon light up dolls Colleen got as a Christmas present from a coworker. We have my army dudes. We have Kid Core Kelsey, the Kid Core Native American guy, my mermaids dolls, my Na 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 surprise doll, my ILY forever doll. Yeah. Just a lot of like clones or random people that don't have enough to be subdivided into their own containers for the time being. These are all of my scene dolls. The boys are in here too because I don't have that many, and they are not as bulky because they're on those articulated bodies. We have Rainbow High and Shadow High, and my Descendants. I bought this set of containers recently, so they look pretty nice in here. And then these are all my celebrities and dolls from entertainment, so you know, you have like the DC superheroes and Wicked, Nessa Rose, Winx dolls, Lord of the Rings, like the boy band type dolls like from One Direction and stuff. My Christy Yamaguchi, obviously Miss Reba, and James Dean. You can see who was up recently when we were filming our Christmas skit. Like, one of my Lucy dolls, and oh, Sunny, I love this container especially. I love celebrity dolls. Alright, and these are the last containers from over there, and then I had one big boy over there. The rest of my dolls are in there. That'll be in a video on a different day. So this is like Random People and Kid Core Katie, like smaller dolls. Colleen has a ton of Kid Core Katie. They used to be housed with like her Madeline dolls and other kind of like smaller scale children type dolls, but yeah, she has an impressive collection of them. So I had leftover dividers here from when I organized my Kelly dolls, so I figured why not just put them to use. So I don't have like labels on them because these are much easier categories to distinguish. But we have some random kids, like my Monster High ones, and Colleen was in here getting people out for a skit, so some of my Jodies are discombobulated, like Kid Core Jodies, my Pocketbook Jan, my Honey Hill Bunch IQ doll, her name is Soo Young, I call her Soo Young. And then these are all of the ones that use the Rosebud mold, so these are mostly Heart Family, but then there's like the Teacher Kids, and a few random Barbie kids from like the 90s. I love these dolls. And then Katie. Then we have my Teresa container. I have a lot of Teresas. And then these are the large scale dolls. Like American Girl and Cabbage Patch dolls are the only other large scale dolls we really collect, but they are on display. You'll be seeing my Cabbage Patch dolls during this storage tour because they live in Babyland. But these are all just like random large scale dolls. So we have like Babysitter Claudia, Gugliope, Frankie, this Hot Looks doll. I have some like Disney toddlers, my Moxie teens. Yeah. So they're just really large and won't fit with, even if there's like another category, like she'd be like a Dolls from Entertainment doll and they'd be Monster High, but they wouldn't fit in those containers. So they're in here. Sorry, Quasimodo break. Are you showing your tummy? Are you trying to get attention? Wow! That's right, where Oliver used to like to lay. Yeah, do you smell Pooh Bear? Hi. Wow, was that your tummy? Yeah? Are you hungry? Is that why you're down here? Or are you just down here because you hear Mom talking to herself? Yeah, it's a cutie! I like your marshmallow cream. This is his marshmallow cream. Okay, bye! I hope you enjoyed this detailed tour of my doll storage, the second installment. Stay tuned for parts 3 and 4. If you want to see all of my stuff in detail, feel free to check out my Flickr. It's always linked below. And you can also view like tutorials on in-depth ways of how and why I store things in my tips and tutorials playlist, and also view previous tours of my doll storage. And until next time, love your dolls, love yourself, and love your life.